G'day punters, victims of the punt time, Randwick, heavy track, cold winter. It's wonderful. Shean Mark Rhoden are here to help me find a few winners. Shean, I'll start with you. Just give us a latest update on the track conditions and then also what the weather's looking like outside.
A very cold day on Thursday and drizzling rain through the day and night. So we've got a clear day this morning, heavy fog, and then cleared up to a clear day, but doubt there'll be much improvement. But it was Arctic-like here yesterday, so all the climate changes. Don't know where you put that in a too hard basket, maybe. Coldest day in 35 years or something.
Jesus.
All right, that sounds exciting. Mark Rhoden, what does that mean for the track then?
3 metre position. Just the last 3 meetings in a 3 metre position over a range of track conditions. We had 28 races, only 3 leaders won over that 28 races, and only 4 winners out of the 28 were fence and run, which is a lot lower than you'd expect for those positions. So I think those, 2 and 3 wide line is fine, and even midfield is fine. I don't think you ever want to be last.
Yep.
You want to be backing horses and go back to last, but those that are fairly handy midfield or off midfield probably get their chance tomorrow with decent speed.
Okay. Well, let's have a look at the quaddie. We'll start with race 6, the Racing to Win handicap. Open race over the mile. In terms of the market, Kerwin's Lane is $3.70 best available, Brutality $4.20, Order again $6, Royal Celebration $7, Opacity is $9.50. Those are your chances in single figures. Shean, anything to kick off the quaddie?
I do like Brutality here getting back to the 1,600 metres. I know Kerwin's Lane was very impressive beating Ellsberg at Rose Hill the other day, and he has won on a heavy track, but that was at Canterbury, which was a massive rails in run advantage that day, which is where he was. And he's got a couple of other failures on wet tracks, one day where he probably wasn't ridden all that well, and another day at Rose Hill where he got lapped. So slight question mark there, but I suppose he'll get a good run. But I just think Brutality hasn't got any failures in the wet. He gets back from 14 to 1,600 metres, and that run at Gosford was, that form's been franked with Brandenburg and Nudge. So I think he's the safest play in my eyes. Kerwin's Lane, obviously, if he handles the ground, will be very hard to beat. Order again, ran well at Scone and be much better suited on a wet track here. So they're the ones I've got it down to, but going with Brutality for me, number 11.
Okay, Mark Rhoden, your early thoughts there for race 6?
Yeah, I thought there were 3 chances, same 3 as Mark and same 3 as the market, really. I want to be on Kerwin's Lane, but the heavy track, if it is a genuine heavy, is an issue. His By Charm Spirit, which is Madam Charm, won a Kendall on a heavy track a couple of weeks ago, but it's not a mad wet track sire by any means. And as Mark said, his standout performance on wet track was at Canterbury, so that's got to have a question mark on it. Brutality is certainly the wet tracker of the 3. I don't know that Barrier 1, as I mentioned in my sort of preamble, is going to be much good. We certainly appreciate the condition of the track, but whether he's in the right spot, if he's back inside at all, might be an issue. And I was quite taken with Order Again's run, and he has run well on heavy track. So I reckon he's shortened up a bit this morning, sort of getting closer to my price, unfortunately, but probably have something on Order Again and monitor the track for Kerwin's Lane and take it from there.
Okay. Race 7 is the Bob Charley listed race over 1,100 metres for Toos. Is favourite at 460, narrowly from Wunderbar at 480, Ballistic Love at 550, Adelong 650. Then you're out to Embracer in Viridine at $10 each. Shean, anything there in the Bob Charley?
It looks to be a solid pace with Ballistic Lover drawn wide. Should come across. I think Adelong and Embracer will be there. Adelong should end up with a good position here. Probably will settle down third. Wunderbar just in behind it for Toos in about 4th or 5th. Found this a tough race, but I like the runs of Adelong and Wunderbar the other day. The Wunderbar's obviously going to be suited by the heavy conditions. Adelong's got 2 good wins at Rose Hill on wet ground as well. Normally takes a few runs to hit a peak, and she did hit a peak the other day, so that's the way I'm going to play it. 5 from 7. I don't know what to make of for two. She's got a failure on a heavy track where she was run down. Admittedly, it was 1,200 metres though, but she didn't really savage the line that day. So I'd be prepared to risk her at the price at the moment.
Okay, Mark Rhoden, what are you doing with Ballistic Lover here?
Yeah, I have to look. She's off a peak. It really looks like an outlier. I'm sure they'll be riding it the same way again. Take no prisoners from the front, but it was a huge figure for her. Whether she can back that up to open company remains to be seen. If she does, she's right in it. But I think I'll just take the risk against her. There's a number of ways you can go in this race. Look, I'm giving Faters another chance. She was completely unsuited the other day. She gets a good run here. She's got a couple of switches I like. As far as the wet's concerned, yeah, she hasn't really ticked that box yet, but she's by deep field. If she's a deep field who actually wants dry, she'll be the first. So I'm going to we'll know after tomorrow. If she has every chance, and it looks like the wet's been the cause of her defeat tomorrow, we can probably stamp her, but I'm going to give her one more chance. The other one I'm giving, look, he might be past his best now and he's not attractively weighted, but could be a chance for Viridin's last hurrah. He's just been going. I mean, he was okay on the Goodwood. Obviously been running in better races than this during his last couple of preps, but you go back to last winter, he good win this track with 61 this time last year on a very wet track, and then backed it up with a second to Jungle Edge in the Monash at Caulfield. That sort of form would put him right in this and at double figure odds. I'll give him one more chance to find his best form on wet ground, but as we've said, there's a few different ways you can go here.
Okay. Race 8 on the program is a benchmark 94 over 1,300 metres. Dream Circle is current market elect at $5, but then you've got Mirror Vision at $6, True Detective $6.50, Tricky Gal $7, Enchanted Heart and Grand Piano at $8 each, and yeah, it doesn't end there, to be fair. Mark Shean, any stab here in race 8?
Look, I think this is the toughest race of the day, personally. I'm not over enamoured with the race. I've got Dream Circle on top for the record, but, he's won twice. Can he win 3 times in a row? Probably the odds are against him doing that. He's drawn barrier number 1. Mark's a bit hesitant about that inside draw, so we'll know, of course, by race 8 whether he's going to be in the worst ground or in the best ground. 8 on top, but I dead set I spent an hour on this race, and I don't think I'm any the wiser, so put a pen through me for this race, I reckon.
Okay, Mark Rhoden, any joy here?
It's open. There's no doubt about that. I wouldn't want to take a short price about anything. I can make a case for Grand Piano coming back from Brisbane. That was a pretty high rating race. He just went down narrowly to that thing on the St. Nicholas Profit. Look, I had Nash on up there. Maybe that was a Nash Real World Peak, which is certainly a thing. Loses Nash tomorrow, but despite being by Lord Kanalara, a Japanese sire who are better on dry, he won on a heavy 10 as a younger horse. Yep. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. And if he backs up that figure from Brisbane, if Brenton Abdallah can get him to repeat it, he's right in the race and he's about $8. So, I'll probably back him, but I might be surprised if he gets beaten. There's a lot of chances.
Okay. It's a funny horse, isn't he? Because his first couple of trials, this preparation looked like he was totally gone, and he just jumped out of the ground since he's gone back to John Thompson.
Absolutely. Yes, he couldn't keep up that first up run at Rose Hill. And he wasn't much better his first run at Gosford for John Thompson, but that was... Look, he's done 2 preps ago. He'd shown the sort of form that he displayed last start in Brisbane. So there is a precedent, but he's got to be taken on trust a little bit.
Okay. Well, that brings us to the last, which is a benchmark 78 over 1,400 metres. Blondo is favourite at $3.10 from Canaster at $4. Cisco Bay's $6.50, and then everything else is double figures, starting with Criminal Code, which is $11. Mark Shean, we obviously spoke a bit about Blondo last start. He went under as favourite. What do you think of his chances here in race 9?
Look, I think he's probably got a better chance here than he did last week last run, because he was staying at 1,200 metres, which was a distance that he hadn't won previously, and he was able to win first up, and he stayed at that trip. So I think he just was a little bit dour in the straight. So it looked to me like 1,400 metres would probably be up his alley. But whether you'd run over broken glass to take about $3 Blondo, that's another matter. Obviously, I think he'd be hard to beat. I think Cisco Bay's flying, but it's come up with a dreadful barrier here, although it might turn out to be a good barrier if they're swooping from the back of the field. But I think if he gets any luck in the run, he'll figure well. His trials have been fantastic. He went to the paddock racing really well. He was, poorly ridden, I think, in a couple of races there at Randwick where he should have nearly won. And he's got great wet track credentials. So if you can run on from the back, I'm going to back Cisco Bay and cut out on Blondo. That's the way I want to attack race number 9.
Okay, Mark Rhoden for yourself in the last.
Yeah, I've come up with those two and Criminal Code as well, who is an unknown quantity on the wet track. But I think Cisco Bay's appears to be flying, judging on his trials, and they've been solid trials too, good hit out, so that should give him some sort of fitness base for a first up run on a wet track. But yeah, he's the one. He's the most attractively priced horse in the race to my mind, although it has shortened. I think Mark's knocked our price off here. It's been about $8.50 into $6.50, but I still think $6.50 is a good price. Criminal Code, sensational run first up, just incredible last 200 and last 100 at a trip that looked unsuitable. Probably still wants a bit further than this, and as I said, we don't know on ground this wet, but at double figure odds, just off those figures, if you're going first up, we've got to have something on him. And yeah, I mean, I probably $3 doesn't look like value to me, but I think it's the only other chance in the race. I don't like Canasta in this setup, so I probably want to not lose on Blondo, just save on him as favourite, and back the other two for results, those being Cisco Bay and Criminal Code.
Okie dokie. Okay, that brings us to the end. We'll run through any other plays you're having on the card, best bets, value bets, lay bets. Mark Shean, I'll start with you.
Well, I thought Brutality was probably the best way to go in race number 6. Look, it is very tricky through winter here. You're guessing how the track's going to play a little bit, especially in Sydney. They don't seem to rain. These tracks don't seem to be very consistent with their patterns, unfortunately. Look, I thought Zing on the backup in race number 5 would be hard to beat. She didn't parade that great last week. Still looked a bit rough in the coat to me, so I think that hard run will certainly stand her in good stead in race number 5. So they're the two for me. Very interesting race, the first, the 2-year-old. We've got 2 horses scratched from Brisbane to stay in Sydney to run on the heavy track, so that's an interesting race as well. But my bets are Brutality and Zing.
Okay, Zing currently sitting at $3.40 mark here on Friday morning. Mark Rhoden, your best players on the card.
Yeah, I want to bet in that last race, as I mentioned, with Cisco Bay, Criminal Code, and maybe dropping out in Blondo. And I'm against Mark. I thought Le Chevalier on wet ground, third up from Melbourne for Mara and Eustace would run a race. Look, it's got Barbados on it, who it's well documented. I'm not his biggest fan, but just looking at his stats, I mean, he's got about a 7% strike rate over the last 12 months, but about 35% of his rides have been for Anthony Cummings, who has an even worse strike rate than him. So if you look at his strike rate for better stables like Joe Pride, John O'Shea and Mara and Eustace, it's actually he's actually profitable to back. He doesn't have many rides for them, but you can just break up that Cummings-Bayless combination. It's not as disastrous as it first looked. So I'll take the punt on him in that race as well.
Okay.
What do you think of Ravina, Mark? You going back there again, race 4?
Not at the price.
No, it's a bit skinny, isn't it?
Look, look, if he comes in, I'm happy to watch. I also thought Bellucci Babe was sensational last start as well. So I think he's got some opposition. I think it falls away after that. But
it's Shake running there or Brisbane? Is it staying in Sydney, Shake? I don't know if it's scratched yet.
I'm not sure. I don't
know.
But
I thought it might be a big improver getting back on the heavy, Shake.
Is it drawn in as well?
It's drawn 1, so
yeah. So there'll been a few races by then. Look, Gravina, I can't back him at $1.95 or close to even money. But if he comes out and wins by 3 or 4 again, then we've got a group horse on our hands. If he can back up what he did last time, then, as I say, we've got a good horse on our hands, but you don't have to take evens to find out.
Yep. Very interesting data horse, that one, for the entire card. We'll wait and see what it throws up there tomorrow. Thank you to you both for your time. We'll catch up next week and we'll preview the meeting next Saturday.
See you later.